Hey everyone. Hey, this is Anna Maria. I'm going to demonstrate how to use the sinus balm. So basically, I know that you have seen the post in the group at some point showing a graphic with your oils and how to use a sinus mug to help with sinus issues. So I wanted to demonstrate that for you guys so that you guys can see it live on video. How about that? So this is actually utilizing 5 of the top 10 oils that are already in your top 10 oils kit. So all of you should already have this kit at home. This is more than likely what you started with. You've probably started with the Family Essentials, the Home Essentials, or the Natural Solutions kit. It doesn't matter which of those kits you guys got started with, you have these oils right at your fingertips. So this is something that you would use, of course, if you're having any types of sinus blockage, you're having trouble breathing, through your nose especially. I know that I have 6 oils up here, but I'm going to address the first 5, and then this is kind of be something for something else. But, there's during times maybe allergy season or, this time of year, client seasons change, we're going into flu season, lots of things. So sinus problems can be a big issue, especially during this time of year. So I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys how to, number one, prevent having those types of issues in the first place, but also what do you do when you're like caught off guard and going, uh-oh, like I can't breathe, or when your child comes home saying, Mommy, my nose is stopped up and I can't breathe, which is actually something that happened very recently. My youngest son came home telling me he wasn't feeling very well, and he said it while I was in the middle of cooking. So I just quickly said, okay, baby, we'll take care of that. I'm gonna help you with your, nose here in a bit. And oh my gosh, I didn't. I totally forgot. He went to bed. It was a very minor issue. The next day, he comes home from school and he can't breathe. And I was like, oh crap. I had that oh crap moment. As parents, we all have those moments, right? Like things get away and we're like, oh no. So anyway, he just could not breathe. His nose was so stopped up, poor little thing. And I said, okay, we're gonna do the sinus mug. And he already was familiar with this concept because his older brother had done this before. So he knew that, what to do and that it helped. So he was all for it. He was excited. So I went ahead and prepared it for him. Super easy. He is 13, so that you guys are aware of what his age is. So he's 13 years old, completely okay and safe for him. You can use this on your littles. I probably wouldn't do this for anyone younger than maybe 10. There's other things that you can do, but for him, this was absolutely appropriate. So what I did was I took a mug and boiled some water, and I just filled up the cup, right? Filled up the cup with that boiling water. It's important to have boiling water because you want that steam. The purpose, otherwise it's not gonna work as well as it's intended to work, all right? So steam, so that you can simply place your nose over and breathe in as much as possible, because at first you probably can't breathe, but it's still going to get in there and it's going to do its job, and then you'll start to notice a little bit of the change. So the oils that we use for this is lemon, melaleuca, on guard, peppermint, and oregano. We do 2 drops of each of these oils, and of course they're all doing something a little different. So lemon, we know, is very cleansing, has lots of cleansing properties. It's also great for eliminating, little toxins that might be the cause of the sinus issue in the first place. It's also great for thinning mucus. So if it's all plugged up and there's a lot of mucus that's being held within the face, you know how we have that sinus pressure and everything, this helps to thin out the mucus so that now we can easily blow our nose and kind of help with the release process of that. So lemon by itself is just amazing when it comes to anything mucus, cold, sinus related. And then of course your melaleuca. These things are going to be very great with immune boosting at the same time. Melaleuca is another one that's really cleansing. And also, this is a great antifungal as well, so it helps with mold and fungus. Believe it or not, we do actually, we can get some trapped fungus in the back of our nasal passages, and that can pretty much trigger a lot of sinus issues. So we walk around with candida, right? That's another word for it. And you can also find that in your sinus cavities. So if that's an issue, maybe we're not just aware of it, using your steam mug with the Melaleuca in it is going to help address that, if that might be the culprit as well. So lots of other benefits for that, but those are pretty much the main reasons why we're using these two. For that, On Guard, of course, is your protective blend, and lots of different, there's different oils that are combined in this one that make it a powerhouse oil. There's actually a study, and it's posted in PubMed, so if you're interested in looking that one up, on how this actually helps combat the influenza virus. So if we're coming into contact with the flu, and maybe that might be the reason why we're having the sinus issues in the first place, this is so beneficial with helping to attack it at its source. So lots of great benefits for using your On Guard. It's antibacterial, of course. It is a power hitter when it comes to germs, all right? So that's a must. And then your peppermint, so it has some amazing anti-inflammatory properties to it. It helps the nose to pretty much the blood vessels to constrict just a little bit, so that you can kind of have some clearer airways and clearer breathing. And for those of you who have had the opportunity to meet your advocate, your wellness advocate, at a class, maybe one-on-one or anything like that, then you have had the initial experience of that peppermint in the palm and breathing it in. And most of the time that's like, okay, this stuff really works, because it really opens the airways quite a bit, both in your nose and in your lungs as well. So that, of course, is in this mix for that reason, to help aid in opening the airways so that these other things can get to work and do what it needs to do. Remember though, I'm sure all of you have already tried your peppermint and you've been using it. 1 drop is very powerful. We're putting 2 in this, so we're gonna be breathing, okay? This is gonna work. Also, you have a little bit of that burning effect, or that sensation, I should say. So like, if you've ever used a nasal spray or anything like that, it's typical. It's normal. So as you're doing this, if you start to feel a little bit of a burn, that is a very good sign. It's like exercising. When you first start exercising, your muscles are like, oh my gosh, they're burning, because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that is normal, and it's a very short, temporary sensation. It's good. Oregano, okay? So this is actually one of those, of course, we can actually cook with your oregano, right? So this herb is a very powerful one. This is the one you pull out when it's like, oh my goodness, I really want to prevent going to the doctor. Like, let me tackle this now so that I don't have to go to the doctor and get on antibiotics and things like that. So this is in here to help further support that process, all right? So great for prevention. Again, this is actually also considered nature's antibiotic. So it's also antifungal. It helps boost the immune system. So not only are we helping the system with breathing, which is important, right? But we're also attacking and going even further to the root source. So whatever's going on there, this is helping with that. Now, if you have issues with chronic sinus problems, then, and you have not checked, maybe had an x-ray done, check that, because there is always that possibility that you could have a deviated septum, and you just don't have, because of just the way you're structured, proper drainage, and it's just causing a lot to be held within the nasal passages. That's important to know, and of course needing to take the next steps. My husband struggled with that and actually wound up having to have surgery to correct that. so that his nasal passages were now aligned. So that's something, if this is a constant chronic thing for you, definitely talk to your doctor about that and see if it's a structural problem. All right, so this is what you do. You've got your water in your mug. It's hot, it's steaming, ready to go. You're gonna add 2 drops of each one of these that I just mentioned, and then you're gonna close your eyes, because this part is super important. We don't wanna get the vapors into the eyes because it'll burn your eyes. So close your eyes and then hang on to your mug so you know where you're going, and then just place your face over, and then just breathe in as best as you can, as long as you can, and then pull away. Catch your breath. Your nose is probably going to be a little sensitive. It's gonna burn just a little bit. Have a tissue handy in case that first one is like enough to really open you up and start helping you to drain all that stuff that's stuck. So you can blow your nose and then go back in and do it a couple more times. So I think that, once is kind of gonna help with starting the process of opening. Then take your breath, blow your nose if you have to, and make sure to really get the vapors in, all right? So that's delivering it into those nasal passages, and of course we have a lot of thin blood vessels there that it will be helping to deliver and distribute throughout the system, all right? So remember, anything that we breathe in does go into the system, it does go into the bloodstream, and it's an amazing way to use your oils for these times. Now that's sinus. So for helping to even further that, if you're also maybe having your lung issue as well, maybe you've got like a little bit of cough or anything like that, this is getting into the system and it is helping. If you want to further open the lungs, then Breathe is absolutely amazing. I love using Breathe in my palms. You can add a couple of drops to your palm, rub your palms together, and use it as an inhaler. Blow out to empty the lungs, and then breathe in through your mouth as far down as you can, and hold that in for a few seconds. Let it do its thing, and then do it a couple more times. Okay, so now you're not only helping open the airways up here with your steam mug, but now you're also opening up the lungs as well. You can do the reverse way. You can start off with the lungs first and breathe that in, and then you can do your steam inhaler. It's probably how I would recommend to do it first, is to use your Breathe. After you've done this, this isn't one of those things that we can say, wow, I did it once and I'm instantly feeling a lot better. If we reached a point that we need to do this, it's probably going to take a couple of times. So for my sons, I had done it at bedtime, right before they went to bed. They had gotten out of the shower and did this, went to bed. The next morning before school, they did it again, and then that night, before bed, they did it that third time. By the third time, they were perfectly fine. So it may take 1 to 3 times, a couple of days. Be consistent with it until you start noticing that difference. I promise you, you're gonna be thanking me for this, because it's an amazing trick, and we have what we need right at our fingertips. This is all from the top 10 oils that we have, okay? So after you've done this, if you have a nasal inhaler, then what you can also do for throughout the day, in between the inhalations, you can actually make like a little nasal support inhaler throughout the day. So something as simple as just adding a couple of drops to this nasal inhaler of peppermint. All right, so peppermint is great for keeping the airways open. Add it to the little wick that's in there. All right, so drop the wick in there, add 2 or 3 drops of peppermint, pop that in and close it, and it has a cap. So when you need to, maybe every couple of hours or maybe every hour, just open that up and breathe that in through your nose, and it'll open up your airways. Keep that in your pocket and go throughout the day. So you have something on hand for when you're at school, when you're at work, you know, things like that to help with until you get back home to do the mug. All right. So peppermint in your nasal inhaler. There's supply stores that we use, that we get our stuff. This isn't something that doTERRA carries, but we do use Oil Life. We use Aroma Tools. You could even get them on Amazon if you want to get creative and you want, or you want, you know, pink or green or anything like that. Then you can order several different colors and have different things to use for that. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was easy to follow, and don't forget you have your oils as your first line of defense. We definitely want to help with prevention, using your On Guard daily, especially throughout this season. These two right here, On Guard and Melaleuca, a little bit on the belly every morning, diluted with some coconut oil or just diffused. I don't know if you can see my diffuser behind me there, but I do have On Guard in there now. Yesterday I was diffusing lemon and Melaleuca. So you can alternate, but make sure that you're staying on top of this, because we definitely don't want to have to do the sinus mug, but if you do, now you know how. All right? So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.